Part 122. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 1211. Chapter 1211 is just made up. After Sun Yan said this, the smile on Sunian's face became more and more serious. Okay, then just tell me word by word, tell me. Sunian's voice became more and more fierce. Now Sun Yan even feels that Sunian's words are like shackles, imprisoning her heart bit by bit. But now Sun Yan has no possibility of turning back. It is simply impossible to turn back. So Sun Yan looked at Sunian and nodded. Sunian then said, I want Huo Linyuan to have no descendants, so I am willing to help my sister drug Huo Linyuan. A man like Huo Linyuan is not worthy of being a man at all. I also do this to do good things for the world. Sun Yan thought about what Sunian would say. But I didn't expect that Sunian would say this. In this case. Before Sun Yan could think about it, Sunian's voice rang out, my purpose is very simple. If you are asked to swear that this video will be sent to Huo Linyuan, then you can tell Huo Linyuan that this is what we forced you to do. Yours is not voluntary, but that's not the case. Sun Yan's face suddenly turned pale. She really didn't expect that Sunian's behavior was so vicious. It's simply too poisonous. Okay, Sun Yan, it's your turn now. With just a few words, I believe it must be very simple. What are you waiting for? Why don't you say it? Why are you still wasting time? Don't you really understand that an inch of time, an inch of gold cannot buy an inch of time? How could Sun Yan say this? To put it this way, it's really, a little bit, I can't say it at all. Sun Yan's look made Sunian smile more and more, don't you dare to say it? If you really don't dare to say it, then just leave and don't waste time here. Sun Yan is really anxious now. Sunian was not in the mood to continue talking nonsense with this woman, so he directly picked up the phone and called Josu. Josu, who was always on call, came in immediately after Sunian finished the call. Take this woman directly away from me. Don't let this woman be an eyesore in front of me. She is an eyesore and makes people upset. Sun Yan, sister, Mrs. Lee, I really mean it, I really mean it. Don't do this to me, I'm your sister. Then, you are willing to say it. If you are willing, then we can start again. I have said it so many times, can you not waste your time? You waste my time like this, it really makes me sad. People are very annoying, really annoying. But does Sun Yan dare? Obviously, Sun Yan didn't have the courage. The only option is to ask Josu to pull him away. After the person left, Sun Ying'er couldn't help but applaud, Nian, you are really a bit too powerful. The way you looked just now was really a bit too majestic, but where did you get that medicine? I have never heard of such a medicine being made. I made that medicine up. Making it up. Sun Ying'er was really a little disappointed when she heard this. Sunian smiled when she saw Sun Ying'er's disappointment, ha ha ha, sister, are you so disappointed? If you are really so disappointed, then I will order someone to see if we can get rid of it. Is this really okay? Sunian put away her smile and put on a serious look, I don't know, but we have money, I think we can try, after all, we have nothing to do now, if we really succeed, then what other man can be our opponent? End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 1212. Chapter 1212 Flustered. This made Sun Ying'er laugh directly. However, she smiled, but Sunian felt that she still needed to be reminded, sister, you still have to be careful. This sister of yours is not a simple person. Even the way she looked just now was calculated. If I guessed correctly, then if she can get Huo Linyuan's approval, she must be able to do something for you. Sun Ying'er nodded, of course I know this, and I will definitely be careful. I am your sister. If I don't have two brushes, then how can I be your sister? But if this Huo Linyuan is really, that would feel a bit childish. Sunian certainly understood what this meant. Hey, whether it's childish or not, it doesn't really matter here. There is a saying that no matter black or white cats are good cats, whatever tricks are useful will do. Have you forgotten those tricks I used before? Who would have thought that I would use those tricks? Sun Ying'er thought it made sense, but seeing Sunian like this, Sun Ying'er wanted to say something, but she didn't know what to say. Sunian noticed it when she saw him like this, so she said directly, "Sister, if you have anything to say, just say it directly. This is not necessary for our relationship. My sister likes nothing more than to steal my things, no matter what they are." Nian, you still have to be careful. Sunian understood what Sun Ying'er said when she heard this, and immediately smiled. "Sister, what are you thinking? If I were a man, I might like such a weak woman, but I am a woman, and as a woman I know the appearance of these white lotuses best. How could I be fooled by him?" Sun Ying'er also knew it very well, but she was really worried about gains and losses. This feeling of worrying about gains and losses really cannot be described in words. Okay, let's discuss how to deal with that Huo Linyuan. And the other side. Sun Yan thought for a while and went to find Huo Linyuan. After all, if this medicine is really used, Huo Linyuan will really be finished. Huo Linyuan and Luo Qian fell silent after hearing this. "Luo Qian, are you right? This medicine really does exist. Are you talking nonsense? If it really does exist, then this Sunian is too vicious." Huo Linyuan also didn't believe it. But when Luo Qian said this, he suddenly thought of something. No, this Sunian never plays according to common sense. There is a possibility. If Sunian really has such a medicine in his hand, then... Sun Yan said immediately after Luo Qian said this, "Master Huo, my heart is really true to you, I really love you. When I heard them doing this to you, I immediately, let me tell you, I definitely didn't hide anything. If I really did, I would be struck by lightning and die." How could Huo Linyuan be in the mood to listen to Sun Yan now? He is now thinking about the possibility of Sunian doing this. When Sun Yan saw Huo Linyuan's indifference, she became even more worried. She was worried that this man would really believe it. If he really believed it, then she would really be doomed. At the same time, she also felt that she could use this opportunity to show her loyalty. Okay, you woman, it's better to stop talking. You can only disturb our thoughts by talking like this. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich John Word. Chapter 1213. Chapter 1213, All trees and grass are soldiers. Luo Qian said this. It really made Sun Yan calm down. But Sun Yan was really a little aggrieved. "Master Huo, do you think this is true or not? Will Sunian do this? If Sunian really does this and this thing really exists, what should we do?" The reason Luo Qian is so worried is because he feels that if Sunian really has such a thing in his hands, and he is now against Sunian, then if Sunian uses it on him, it will be over. Luo Qian became even more worried when he saw that Huo Linyuan remained silent. Is this Sunian still a woman? Why do she have such vicious thoughts in her mind? No kind-hearted woman would have such thoughts. It's really too much. Why are there such vicious thoughts in this world? Woman. Why does such a vicious woman survive in this world? When thinking of this, Luo Qian looked up at Sun Yan. "Sun Yan, are what you said untrue?" Are you talking nonsense? Sun Yanzhe felt that she was doubting herself, so she subconsciously retorted, I really don't. My heart for Mr. Huo is really a lesson from heaven and earth. I have been in love with Mr. Huo for I don't know how many years. I have loved Mr. Huo for so many years. Don't you see Mr. Huo's love in your eyes? But even so, Luo Qian still didn't believe it. Sun Yan still had some brains and knew that if she couldn't prove herself now, it would really be over. Then she quickly said, Master Luo, you are also a smart person. I just want to ask, if I am really over there, so what benefits can I gain? Can my so-called sister treat me sincerely? But Luo Qian still looked at Sun Yan. This really made Sun Yan feel a little nervous. Don't know what to do. At this moment, Huo Linyuan's voice rang out, okay, don't be so worried, you will only make yourself confused. When Huo Linyuan finished speaking, Luo Qian used Sun Yan's words. He looked away. But if Sun Yan does this, what should we do? Should we pretend that we don't know anything? If this is really the case, then in case of an emergency, Linyuan, you must know that there is a saying, don't be afraid of 10,000, be afraid what if something happens. Huo Linyuan also had a headache. What else could Huo Linyuan do in order to be afraid of this eventuality? You can only ask someone to check it out. And, a lot of force was used. Even Sun Yan knew this. Sun Yan was really speechless when he heard the news. Hey, there are really a lot of enemies over there. Nian, you are really majestic. I really don't know why the people over there are against us. Isn't this asking for death? Sun Ying'er couldn't help it. Make complaints. Lu Jing next to him also laughed, ha ha ha, they are so mentally retarded that they can actually believe it. I think if you spread rumors in the future about how you used some means to obtain the missile, then they will also believe it. Sun Yan also said a little helplessly, hey, they really make me feel that I am a bit demonized. Hey, am I that powerful? If I am really that powerful, then that would be great. Auntie, you are really a bit too powerful. You are not an ordinary person at all. These people are acting like fools if they go against you. Ha ha ha, I was smart and surrendered in time. If I go against you, then I'm really finished. End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Zhang Word. Chapter 1214. Chapter 1214 Exclusive Interview. Sun Yan really felt that the other party was a bit demonizing him. But, this is also a benefit. Then Sun Yan put away his smile, okay, Josu, help me find someone and spread the news. I want to find someone to research such a medicine. If someone can research this medicine, then whatever you want, I agree. Although it's a bit shameless, but, it's good that some things are really useful. In addition, Sun Yan also knew that Huo Linyuan had been in contact with Li's shareholders more and more frequently recently. Li Baikan also told her that the situation there was fairly stable. Since this is the case, then the bigger the noise here, the better. In this case, things will become interesting. When Lu Jing saw Sun Yan like this, he knew that this matter would become interesting. There were really a lot of good things to watch. The better this drama is, the better it will be. Sun Yan released the news. It's even worse over there. At this time, an exclusive interview broke out. An exclusive interview participated by Sun Yan. Is a financial program. Sun Yan has always represented a legend. With the same variety show, which is not even a variety show, a clothing brand became popular. Such behavior will of course be sought after by others. The host asked, hello, Mr. Su, thank you very much for participating in our exclusive interview. To be honest, I received the news that you agreed to conduct an exclusive interview. Our program team really suspected that we were wrong. After all, I received the news that you agreed to conduct an exclusive interview. You have never been interviewed. Sunian smiled and said, "You're wrong about this. It's not that I never participate in interviews, but no one interviews me. I'm really pushy, but I've always been. No chance." Really? If that's the case, then I really made a mistake, ha ha ha. You know, none of our colleagues have submitted a request to you. It seems that you still have to be bold. The two of them chatted about work. There will inevitably be emotional issues at the end of the conversation. The host asked, "We all know that you and your husband have always had a very good relationship. Your husband is not in good health now, and you are staying by his side. Your good relationship is really enviable. Can you tell us your secret?" "There is no secret, it's just fate. Everyone knows that I have chased him for many years, but when fate made him look back, I just didn't give up. To be honest, I was really in the mood to give up, but I was a little unwilling to give up." But when he said this, Sunian suddenly changed the subject. "But, he was not wrong, he just didn't love me in the first place. It's better than some so-called rotten cucumbers. I really want to invent a medicine that can physically castrate men. In this case, bad men can live a life worse than death." This remark caused an uproar on the internet. It resonates with many women. Even became a hot search topic. As a result, Lee's stock price began to rise rapidly. The Huo Group's president's office is also showing this clip. Luo Qian started walking around. "What should I do with Lin Yuan? What should I do? This vicious woman, why are there such vicious women in this world? Why don't you open your eyes and see this? Why don't you open your eyes and see this, world? Why do you let such a vicious woman stay in this world?" Huo Linyuan was already a little restless, but now with Luo Qian, he is really becoming more and more restless. "Okay, shut up. If you really don't shut up, then I will let you disappear from this world now." End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich John Word. Chapter 1215. Chapter 1215. We must be stable now. Huo Linyuan is also the actual controller of the Huo family. He is also more or less capable. After all, if he was really capable, how could he have sat in this position for so many years? Luo Qian calmed down a little after being yelled at by Huo Linyuan. Next to, Lin Na. That's right, Lin Na is here too. Lin Na really feels a bit boring here. These two guys are really no match for Sunian. Hey, she was really a little envious of Sunian. Being able to do this to this point is really a skill. But Lin Na can understand it. After all, everyone will be afraid of unknown things, and Sunian's methods are real. In fact, envy is envy. Lin Na knew very clearly that she would never become a person like Sunian, and she would never be that chic. But Lin Na knew very clearly that she still had to say something. If she didn't say something, she would really be just watching the show. Although Lin Na is very willing to just be a theater goer. But Lin Na knew clearly that if she just watched the show like this, Huo Linyuan's temperament would easily turn his anger on herself. Hey, for your own safety. Lin Na could only say, "Master Huo, Master Luo, you better not worry too much. It's possible that you are overthinking. After all, how could there be such a medicine in this world? If Sunian really wants people to study it, then a lot of manpower and material resources will definitely be invested, so we will definitely find out early." These words made Huo Linyuan's face look slightly better. But at this moment, Luo Qian's voice sounded again. "What you said makes sense, but you have forgotten that Sunian is not an ordinary woman. You can even say that Sunian is not a human being. You should follow normal thinking. If you think about him, then it won't work." Hearing this, Lin Na said helplessly, Master Luo, why do you think that your thinking is not based on normal conditions? Luo Qian's face suddenly changed. Lin Na, what do you mean? Which side are you on? Don't talk nonsense. Your behavior really disturbs the morale of the army. If you do it randomly. Okay, if you really think that I disturb the morale of the army, then you think so, and there is nothing I can do about it. The two of them said this, which really made Huo Linyuan feel even more irritable. Then he yelled directly, shut up, both of you. If you don't shut up, then get out of here. Don't talk nonsense in front of me. If you are talking nonsense, then I'm really rude to you. These words made the two people who spoke look a bit bad. Okay, stop talking. I'm begging you, stop talking. If you continue to talk like this, then I'm really rude to you. Forget it, you guys get out of here, if you don't, I'll be really rude to you. Luo Qian and Lin Na have no choice but to leave. After the two people left, Huo Linyuan reached out and tugged on his tie. Although he is a little scared, most of the time he is very clear about the current situation and must be stable now. If it is unstable, it is very likely to be dangerous. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 1216. Chapter 1216 Huo Linyuan takes action. Although Huo Linyuan was a little flustered. But he also knows that at this time, there is an opportunity. If you seize this opportunity, you may really gain something different. Huo Linyuan is very aware of the game between him and Sunian, and at the same time, this game has been seen by many people. I absolutely cannot lose this time, no matter what happens, I cannot lose. Don't lose. If you lose at this time, then you will become a joke to the whole world, an absolute joke. You must not let this happen. Absolutely impossible. So Huo Linyuan sneaked out at this time. Meet with the shareholders of Li Group who are my contacts. When we met this time, the person opposite laughed when he saw Huo Linyuan. I really didn't expect Mr. Huo to still have time to see me. I thought you must be very busy now. Why am I busy? The person on the other side felt a little embarrassed when they heard this. Although they all know what Sunian is doing now, they can't explain it openly. The atmosphere is a bit awkward now. Huo Linyuan knew very clearly what the person in front of him wanted to say, and also knew that he would definitely be afraid of him. It just so happened that he could use this opportunity to make this guy. Are you not satisfied with the price I mentioned before? The person opposite smiled, Mr. Huo, I know exactly what you mean, but you also need to know that the reason why I have what you want is because my ancestors followed the Li family to capture it. Now I'll give it to you directly, I don't think I'm qualified to see my old father. And Huo Linyuan laughed when he heard this. If you are not satisfied with the price, then we can talk, no matter what the price you want, you just need to say, then I can give you a satisfied price. This is not satisfied. Hey, I am also at this age. If I really do something that is sorry for my ancestors and disappoints them, then what should I say if I go to see my ancestors in the future? Huo Linyuan couldn't help but sneer in his heart after hearing these words. This guy is really not an ordinary speaker. In order to reject myself, I actually moved my ancestors out. Mr. Qian, do you really have no confidence in yourself? Don't you really think that if you break away from the Li Group, you can build a company on your own, an extremely powerful company? Qianzong on the other side put his expression away when he heard this. Huo Linyuan knew very well that every man has ambition in his heart, and what he has to do is to ignite this ambition, control it, and make it work for him. Mr. Chien also realized what Huo Linyuan meant. Of course I want to, but I'm a little afraid that I don't have that ability. If I have that ability, it would be great. Hey, after what you said, I even want to call my hometown to ask. Ask, is there smoke coming out of my ancestral grave? Then do you want to let your ancestral graves emit green smoke? The two people just looked at each other. Looking at it like this, Huo Linyuan could feel that the ambition of the man in front of him was growing rapidly. Master Huo, I really found out now that you are quite good at talking. When Huo Linyuan heard this, he knew that he was about to succeed, and then he shrugged, I also think I can speak. I don't like nonsense. I think if I want to say something, then I should speak to others' hearts. Son is better. End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jung Word. Chapter 1217. Chapter 1217, Buying and selling cannot be done by benevolence and righteousness. As long as you transfer this share to me, I can help you open a company of your own. As far as I know, your status in the Li family is not high. You have been suppressed by Li Baikan all these years. Not convinced, I can help you and change your current situation. The person opposite was obviously tempted. But even so, he still restrained himself. Haha, Mr. Huo, what you said is indeed good, but I know my abilities better than anyone else. Hey, I really don't dare. After all, if I mess around with something at such an old age, I may not be able to accomplish anything, and I'm old if I mess around like this. What if something happens? When Huo Linyuan heard this, he didn't mean to be anxious. I thought you missed the smoke coming out of your ancestral grave, but it turns out I was overthinking it. Hey, I thought every man hoped to become a great contributor to the family. It seems that I really think too much. Mr. Chien looks bad. That's right, Huo Linyuan is igniting Mr. Chien's ambition. As long as ambition can be ignited, some things will be much simpler. After all, once ambition is established, it cannot be controlled. Mr. Chien, Mr. Huo, what you said is really a bit joking. Hey, I have already explained my situation. It is really a bit insulting for you to talk like this. Mr. Huo, don't you really, morality, haven't you ever heard of the saying that business cannot be done without righteousness? You look like this, hey. But Huo Linyuan showed a confused look when he heard this. Mr. Chien, what do you mean by this? Did I say something wrong? I didn't say anything wrong. I am telling the truth now. If you really think I said something wrong, then you should talk to me carefully. Isn't what I said before the truth? It's really strange. Hey, Mr. Chien, don't you like to hear the truth? If Mr. Chien, if you really don't like to hear the truth, then you can tell me directly. This way, if so, I will never tell the truth. That's right, Huo Linyuan said it directly. Huo Linyuan has been at a high place for so long, and he hasn't been so humble for a long time. If it wasn't to deal with Sunian and make Sunian pay the price, then he would never do this. But even so, Huo Linyuan also wanted the people in front of him to know that Huo Linyuan was not a simple person. Don't act so condescending in front of him. Mr. Chien also felt the pressure of Huo Linyuan. Mr. Chien, you also said that business cannot be done without mercy. If you really don't want to cooperate with me, then just say so directly. I won't force you, but I still have things to do, so I'll excuse you. Huo Linyuan stood up after saying this. When Mr. Chien saw Huo Linyuan planning to leave, he immediately stood up and said, Mr. Huo, why are you so anxious? We have to talk to you carefully. It's not necessary. It's really not necessary. But the moment Mr. Chien stood up, the entire situation was under Huo Linyuan's control. The smile on Huo Linyuan's lips curled up slightly. Mr. Qian, I'm sorry, you also know my current situation. Wasting time here is a very dangerous thing, but I still want to tell you, Mr. Qian, that if you miss some opportunities, they will be gone. End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 1218. Chapter 1218 Lin Na, what do you mean? After Huo Linyuan finished speaking, he walked directly outside. Every step Huo Linyuan takes now is a gamble. Bet on yourself that you will succeed. Bet on yourself that you can. Step by step. Finally at this time, Mr. Qian's voice rang out, "Hey, Mr. Huo, you won, you really won, you are worthy of being Mr. Huo, I really feel like I was wasting my time in front of you now, ha ha ha, I even feel like I'm a joke in front of you." Huo Linyuan turned around and said nothing. But his expression said it all. Aren't you a waste? When Huo Linyuan left, he didn't expect to see a familiar person. Lena. And Lin Na was sitting just where he and Mr. Qian were sitting just now. Such a short distance. What does Lin Na want to do? Huo Linyuan immediately sat in front of Lin Na. When Lin Na saw Huo Linyuan, she gave him a smile, and then waved to the waiter, "Mr. Huo, you were busy for so long just now, talking to that person for so long, and judging from your expression, it can be said that you were beaten. It's been a terrible battle, and now I think you might want to eat something or drink a cup of coffee to relax a little bit." Huo Linyuan has always felt that Lin Na is not a simple woman. She is not a simple woman. But he didn't expect, Lin Na was actually simpler than he thought. In this situation, Huo Linyuan said directly, "Lin Na, you are really smart, but smart women are really a bit bad. I don't like women who are too smart. At the same time, I also think that if a woman is too smart, then, very dangerous." When Huo Linyuan said this, there were many dangerous words in his voice. But Lin Na didn't have any so-called fear, and even said with a smile, "Mr. Huo, I thought you didn't have such a concept. After all, Sunian and Sun Ying are like this. In your heart, you still feel that women are useless. If it's so useless, then why are you having a headache now because of Sunian's behavior?" Huo Linyuan's expression suddenly changed. "Lin Na, do you know what you are talking about? Do you know the so-called consequences of speaking like this? Aren't you afraid that I will do something to you?" Lin Na now really feels that this Huo Linyuan is a firecracker that will be lit at any time. Alas, this reminds Lin Na of the past. In the past, she could only watch this Huo Linyuan from a distance. In his eyes, Huo Linyuan was aloof and could not get close to him at all. But the current situation is really a little different from what he thought. Even Lin Na was really a little disappointed in her heart, super disappointed. Of course I know. If I don't even have this bit of vision, then why don't I dare to be here? Hey, why are you so anxious, Mr. Huo? Your temper is really a bit too anxious. It's really a little anxious. Sometimes, being anxious is not a good thing." When he heard this, Huo Linyuan's face became more and more ugly. The reason why this happened was because just now Huo Linyuan had said something similar to someone else, and not long after that, another person appeared and said it to him. Such role changes. It was really hard for him to adapt. "Lena, what do you mean? Hey, I just think I should appear here now. After all, Sunian is not a simple person. Mr. Huo, you just appear here and you don't have a perfect reason. Are you really not afraid? Are you not afraid that Sunian will find out?" Immediately after. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 1219. Chapter 1219. Huo Linyuan's expression changed again. This Lin Na is really not a simple woman. Mr. Huo, I can understand what you mean, but I really have no other ideas. I just want to prove my worth. After all, a worthless person is just a toy next to you. I really don't want to be like that. People. Huo Linyuan was not talking, just looking at Lin Na. Lin Na knew very well that Huo Linyuan's current attitude was as if he was speaking superiorly. I'll give you a chance. You should perform well and don't let me down. Such a condescending attitude really made Lin Na a little excited. After all, pulling down such a high-ranking person directly and hard, such a sense of accomplishment, is really exciting just thinking about it. Mr. Huo, you know my situation better than anyone else. You also know what means I used to come to you. Even for you, you kept me by your side just for fun. There is nothing wrong with it, big reason. But Mr. Huo, don't you think it's a pity? Aren't you a little upset when someone like me hangs around you like this? Don't you really want to make me valuable? Only in this way can you show how powerful you are, Mr. Huo. Huo Linyuan laughed directly when he heard this. Is that all you said? Isn't it a waste of time for you to say this? Then you tell me, what should I say? I want to say some big words. To Mr. Huo, it is just a joke. It can even be said that you are asking for humiliation. Do you think this situation? Will I say it? Lin Na, you are really not simple. Simplicity will not be here anyway. I am dissatisfied with why Sunian and Sun Ying'er can climb so high and why they can be so powerful. They are both women. I really think it can be like this, so I hope you can help. When Huo Linyuan heard this, he snorted, why do you women like to make such troubles? What's the use of such troubles? You women have forgotten your responsibilities. I find that you women always he likes to use some cleverness to achieve his own goals, haha, and he really regards his cleverness as his own ability. Why don't you just stand behind the man so much? Lin Na was really speechless when she heard this. Now if Lin Na could, she would really want to give this guy a hard slap. This guy is really too arrogant. If this guy had some ability, he wouldn't be treated like this by Sunian and Sun Ying'er. Even Lin Na felt that Huo Linyuan was really a bit perverted. Being tortured by Sunian and Sun Ying'er really made me feel a little abnormal. That's why I was like this. I couldn't deal with Sunian, but I just took out my anger on myself. Not a man at all. If such a man can compare with Sunian, then the world will be unfair. Huo Linyuan also realized that something was wrong with his state, and even felt a little dizzy because of Sunian. He immediately picked up the water glass next to him and took a sip of water. After drinking this water, Huo Linyuan finally felt better. As long as you are honest, you can get whatever you want, and I can satisfy you. I can understand what you mean, Mr. Huo, but I have no choice but to do it. After all, there are no men in my family. If I don't do something, it will really be over. So the hope of my family really lies in me. End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 1220. Chapter 1220. These words made Huo Linyuan's face look a little better. At least there is a serious reason. Lin Na, I understand what you mean. I hope you can do what you said. If you don't do what you say, or even if you are duplicitous, then the final price for you will really be bad. You are a smart person. You should also know the price. Of course I know. Then I start to look forward to it and look forward to your ability. The two people just looked at each other and smiled. Recently, Sun Yan clearly felt that there was something wrong with Huo Linyuan's attitude towards her. You must know that before, you could appear next to Huo Linyuan at any time. But now, Huo Linyuan doesn't see him at all. Such a situation really made Sun Yan feel a little anxious. How could this Huo Linyuan do this? After all, he told Huo Linyuan everything just to let Huo Linyuan feel his heart. Why was Huo Linyuan still like this? At this moment, Sun Yan looked at the expressionless assistant in front of her, feeling really annoyed, extremely annoyed. Sun Yan looked directly at the assistant and said, "Linyuan really has no time at all. Don't talk nonsense. I have a very good relationship with Linyuan now. If you talk nonsense and prevent me from seeing Linyuan, the consequences will be very serious. Believe it or not, I can ask Linyuan to fire you directly." But even after the assistant heard this, he remained unusually calm. "Miss Sun, I can understand what you mean, but I can't. What he said is all true. Mr. Huo is really busy recently and has no time. I don't have time. Every time I come, you say you don't have time. Do you not know who I am or what my status is in Linyuan's heart? If you are rude to me, the consequences will be really serious." But Huo Linyuan's assistant's eyes still didn't change at all. "I'm sorry, Miss Sun, I can understand your mood, but Mr. Huo is really busy right now. I didn't lie to you. Didn't you hear nothing about the relationship between the two? Regarding the news about Tinder, do you really not know Mr. Huo's current situation?" Sun Yan's face really changed when she said these words. Of course Sun Yan returned, and at the same time she knew the current situation very clearly in her heart. She felt that Huo Linyuan must be in a bad mood now. It could even be said that Huo Linyuan was in the most uncomfortable moment now, if she took advantage of this opportunity. Being by Huo Linyuan's side to comfort him properly makes Huo Linyuan feel that he is the only one in the world, and he is the only one who will be by his side to guard him. In this case, I will definitely win Huo Linyuan's heart. Definitely. So now that she couldn't see Huo Linyuan, she was really anxious. If she really missed this opportunity, she would really be doomed. "Miss Sun, I have made my words very clear, and I hope you can understand what I mean by this, so don't bother me here. If you bother me like this, it will really make things difficult for me. What does it mean to be difficult to communicate with? You also know that you are difficult to communicate with. If you really know this, then you should not waste time. If you waste time like this, then you are laying a trap for your future. You will have no place to cry when you regret it." But the assistant still said, "If there is really a time to cry, then I will cry and I won't say anything more." End of this chapter.